subscribe.
I'm the angry ops guy, hanging by a thread, living on Prozac, the meds from my head, jaded and burned out, ADHD and overdrive, manage your life, running on a wire, I love it, I hate it, I'm past repair, the angry ops guy, just another day.
Angry Ops Guy podcast. Ops Mike here. Welcome back for another episode and another guest. This week, I am sitting down with my friend, business partner, and colleague, Andrew Widdall. He is a part of Unibit Solutions, and he is one of the key people in my WSI operations in the sense of helping me as a WSI certified production center with our SEO needs for tackling, clients in the search engine optimization space and now the AI-driven search space. Andrew, good morning. How are you doing, sir?
Mark, I'm good. Thanks for having me here. It's not morning my side, it's afternoon, but those are the hours we keep at the moment this side of the world.
Yeah, and for people that don't know Andrew as intimately as I do, Andrew's home base is out of South Africa. So I typically record in my afternoons with the guests that are on Eastern Standard Time, but we're recording in the morning because if I asked Andrew to do that at my time, he would be sleeping. So us ops people, hey, Andrew, we need sleep. So no late meetings with time zone changes. That is not going to happen. But I really appreciate you coming on because we talk more, week to week, month to month about, obviously operations, but we talk a lot about SEO because that is a huge moving landscape right now for both of us in different ways. You are a facilitator of many accounts across the WSI ecosystem, working with many WSI franchises and ICs at volume. And also, on my side, obviously, we're client facing. And we have to find that marriage, if you will, of how we can navigate not only, which has always been a demanding and difficult way to prove ROI and the value of search engine optimization, but now in search everywhere optimization and an AI-driven first discovery world, we've been flipped upside down. And you know that better than anybody because you've been a mentor to me, trying to guide me with your business partners, obviously Francois Muscat, King WSI, as I like to call him, the master. We'll speak more about Francois. Your wife is his lovely daughter, Marilise, and also Francois's wife, Mariana. So you guys have been at the forefront of trying to figure out what the hell's going on with AI, just injecting everything into our space. And, you are one of the key thought leaders for us. So maybe we can, we're going to talk about operations, so much to say about that, but let's start with SEO because that's really your bread and butter. And, you're on thought leadership panels, you are on question and answer panels, you have done speaking engagements at regional meetings because, and for people to know, like Andrew flies in from South Africa for some of these, like it's a slog to get here. But we bring him in for the value of what Unibit brings to the WSI network. So Andrew, let's just dive in right away to the new world of SEO. And the first question I would just love to allow you to just spew some rage about is just, how are you feeling about the changes? We've really been looking at this for now, in fairness, maybe say 12 to 18 months of really trying to, identify, research, learn, adapt. But it really kind of, the grenade went off July, August of last year. And so take it away. What are you feeling in this last 6 months? And start there,
Okay.
man.
Well, Mike, I think we are all in the same boat when things evolve and life, everything evolves. It's never stagnant. So with SEO evolving and the introduction of AI and all the LLMs, your initial thought is, I think everybody thought it there in July or just before July that SEO is dead and we're going to reinvent the wheel. As we've gone, we now sort of 10 months down, and all we've had to do is adapt the wheel, alter the wheel. Saying that, the way we're altering the wheel has to get faster and faster because technology is changing on a daily basis now. So AI or digital marketing and ASEO or GEO or whatever you want to call it, he's a new player in the field every time. He's something to read all the time. One of the things we are fortunate about at Unibit is that we've got myself, Marilise, Francois, and Mariana all reading. So we've got 4 people reading about what's happening. And we collaborate that as opposed to, let's say, an IC who's as a one-man band or, you know, they've only got one person to read this information. So we are quite fortunate that we've got 4 heads to bring in what's happening. How I'm feeling about SEO at the moment, I'm excited at the opportunity. It does bring in a new feel to it that we now have to be visible on many, many platforms. So the only disadvantage there is clients' budgets. The clients, some clients can't absorb the budget to be visible on all the platforms. But if you take that budget out of it, it's actually a very exciting time to be into digital marketing, because I've always said digital marketing is like playing chess with 10 people at once. We've just added another 10 people to the chess game. So we're now playing chess with 20 people. And, if we weren't doing that, imagine being, and no offense to an accountant or anybody, imagine being an accountant sitting behind your desk and just shuffling numbers all day. You and I, as much as we pull our hair out of it, every day is a challenge. Every day is a different source that we have to worry about or research or read about. I mean, if we stop doing that, we're going to get bored at our jobs. So I do find it exciting, but the only way to keep ahead of this, or not even ahead, we'll never be ahead, to keep in line with this is to keep on reading. And as we do now, collaborate between the ICs, the PCs, WSI network. If we keep on talking, we can keep in line with how it's evolving.
So much to unpack there, like so many kind of sub layers. And let's start with one, like you said, is it is exciting. In some of my recent episodes, we've definitely shifted to talking about AI and how it's changing the ecosystem, as I call it, and so forth. But specific to SEO, you're absolutely right. Like, there was tremendous fear, and fear is created by the cannon fodder online of everybody with an opinion in today's world. But there was a real fear that what is going to happen to SEO, because SEO historically, for many small to medium sized agencies and respectfully production centers like you guys have positioned yourself, um, it is a very strong recurring income stream, because it is a progressive strategy that never stops. Like you said earlier, it continues to evolve. So, even if we think we've got great tactics, great approach, and then Google does an algorithm update in the past years, and then changes the whole game, and now AI is the biggest update, if you will, to the entire journey of search everywhere optimization. So it is extremely exciting, because I think you would also agree, knowing how long you guys have facilitated SEO, both as with Francois's WSI agency, now 25 years, moving into 25 plus years of business in the network. And then Unibit as a production center, being at moving into 22 years in the network and in business. You've seen a lot of change, a lot of evolution. But I think you would also agree, Andrew, that many customers have devalued SEO, because, again, whether it's economic circumstance, whether it's how consumers have changed, but the world is very reactionary, very immediate now. I need things today, Andrew. I need leads today. I need progress today. And we used to have to, and we still do have to say, SEO is a long-term investment. It is not, you're just not buying traffic like turning on a light switch. You have to earn the authority and the signals and the reputation to have to be discoverable. And we're going to expand upon that as well. But when you tell the client in historical days, well, we need 3, 6, 9, 12 months because you've never done it before, or there's a lot of competition, they'll immediately say, what's another tactic you can do? And now what you and I are learning, we are sharing and educating, is search everywhere optimization is almost a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
for businesses moving forward, because the signals that I'm learning and we've been clearing on is if you're not doing search everywhere optimization in the new world of AI driven discoverability, you're dead. And I'm not, I am not one of those internet people just to say, you know what, but it's the truth. You will not be found moving forward in how people consume information and discovery to help them find the solution that they want through the digital space, which is the internet.
Yeah. You, you're quite right. You have to evolve. And you mentioned something there about the SEO and the longevity. I mean, how long SEO takes to produce results. So what we are finding is we now have to not just we have to look at each project and have a strategic digital marketing. And this is where the analysis comes from, and the consultation to the client is by recommending not just SEO, but certain parts that add to the SEO. So paid media. So we got to strategically do, well, let's do paid media for the first 6 months. And then in month 3, we start the SEO when you've made some revenue from the paid media. So we have to get more invested with the client's business and the client's KPIs to advise in the right way so we can eventually get to the SEO. And as we all know, the nice thing about SEO, it's recurring income. So we might have to, in the beginning of every project, um, just do paid media where we make a small amount of profit in lieu of making sure the client gets the return on his investment, gets the money and the budget to invest in the long-term SEO. And I think that's the goal, because then client retention is great. Once they've seen that you can actually move the needle, get leads, and you're building the SEO, and after a year, they haven't been sitting with no leads. They've got the leads from paid media or PR or whatever. But your SEO is not a here's 3 packages, pick a package. SEO is what do you need? So it's more of a consulting approach.
What are you, what do you feel is the biggest deal breaker, or why many business owners don't believe in it still? Don't see the value in it. No, we know the value, even though, look, paid advertising is very data centric. It's a
Mm.
mathematical formula. What you're putting in versus what it costs equals in a divide, and then here's ROAS, and that's why a lot of businesses love it, because I don't want to say there's an element of predictability, but there is the able to put it in a quantifiable data metric to show, are we good or are we bad.
Yeah.
SEO is a different SEO is a different landscape, right? It is historically not been leads immediately, right? Because you need to be able to be found, so you need to gain visibility to be discovered. Once you're discovered, you need to get the right type of traffic coming to your website, and now more than ever, it's about high intent traffic versus bulk traffic like the old days.
Yeah.
And then from there, that's where lead opportunities can come from, once you have the right people coming in the right doors. But what do you think, based on all your years of experience in navigating SEO, like, what is the deal breaker that people still go, I don't believe in it, it's not going to work, it's not worth the investment? I would love to know from your side, kind of looking at it from within, but also facilitating the argument against customers and ICs.
Mike, if the 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 end client who is reluctant to do SEO has normally been exposed to SEO from some sort of organization that has not done it effectively. So they've burnt their fingers already. And then you and I come in here with good intentions, not to, just take money out of the pockets, but actually to improve his business. And from past history, they go, no, we're not interested. The clients that have never done SEO, that's an easier sell to me, because you're talking about building an asset. So we talked about paid ads, paid media. That's not building an asset. That's paying for an asset.
Mm-hmm.
While SEO, at the end of the day, you own that asset. So somebody who's never done SEO before is a lot easier to convince to do SEO than somebody who has their fingers have been burnt by a business that doesn't do it as effectively as they should. And I think that's our biggest thing. I'll get a proposal either from an IC or from an end user saying, you know, we want to do SEO, but we've done SEO with this client before and we did it for a year, we got no return on investment. And then that is very difficult to close because normally the digital platform, the digital footprint is very bad, and we almost got to start again. So there's another 6 to 8 months of no return. So the biggest thing is getting burnt by previous digital marketers who haven't been as effective as they should have been.
And we see that so much, like they are they are some of the best conversations and best opportunities. Even to your point, even as devil's advocate to your point, is they are the harder ones to convince, because that's what we see day to day. We see it with paid advertising as well as a tactic. I've been burned by 3 other digital marketing agencies. I have lost tens of thousands of dollars worth of money, and I didn't get an ROI. And so they're very disjointed, very disgruntled when we were sitting there optimistic for opportunity to help and do it the right way. But it's such a pattern in our industry, no matter where in the world we are, is just bad goddamn digital marketing, which then leaves the end business owner jaded, versus strategic partnerships like you and I try to create that allow opportunity to grow. Because the big thing that you said there, which I kind of highlight on, and I use it in my sales process, but I also use it when talking to existing customers. And this business thing is SEO is investing in your business. I could not agree with you more. Because everybody looks at X amount of dollars. Like the average price point for SEO at a baseline now, and I'm just saying is, don't worry about Canadian, United States, or other currencies. What we're seeing trending is good SEO now is no less than $2,000 a month, no matter what the currency is. And the reason, but for the end customer though, is they immediately go, that's a lot of money per month. And then they calculate 12 months, because a lot of SEO strategic contracts have to have term because it needs time to materialize. And then they're like, well, that's a lot of investment. We say a lot of investment. That's a lot of cost. But it's not cost, because what you earn and what you build and what you gain is growing the seniority, the reputation, the visibility of the brand. And once you have that, then you manage to keep it. But like you said about PPC, you're not buying something. PPC is a light switch. As much as you keep paying money saying, I want to spend, and as soon as Andrews gets told, turn that off, light switch off, everything, you didn't gain anything. But that's the real power of SEO overall. And that hasn't changed in years, is you win by earning that visibility. And once you have it, then it's how do you protect it from the other players outside your sandbox that are trying to get in.
Yeah, how you maintain it. Yeah, and I think our advantage, and I think all the WSR ICs and we go strategy first. So now it's, hey client, buy this 10 package keyword from me, or buy this 1 URL, 2 URL package keyword from me. We're no longer saying that. We're saying, let me have a look at your business. Tell me all about your business. Very much like your onboarding documents that you supply us. Mike, they're very in depth. You've actually gone into the client's business, taken the time to understand his business, and gone back with a proposal. Straight away there, it builds the trust factor, and you're not a fly by night. You're there for the long haul in order to build that SEO asset in the business. So if we go in and it strategy first, and I must tell you, as a production center, just today I must have done 4 strategies already from ICs giving me the information. And it takes a lot of time and knowledge. Obviously, the more I do, the better I get at it. But I'm very invested that the strategy has something of value to give back to the IC, to give to the end user. Because if we do that, you've got that trust factor straight away. You're not selling a single item. You're selling a roadmap to build the asset. A strategy.
Love that. Well, you don't go on a road trip without planning your trip. So why would you decide to turn on SEO with, again, like you said, no roadmap and no plan, which is strategy? And that's a big, like you said, unique identifier of the WSI process. What you and I align with is it is strategy first, because we can't show a ton of success in 30 days. We
No.
can't show in 14 days that the needles moved 10x like everybody hopes in today's reactionary immediacy world. So how do you? I love what you said there. Is how do you start to calm the new customer who is excited but anxious, still maybe thinking, what am I going to get out of this investment? But how do you help them keep their momentum through educating them, but showing them is that this is the plan that we're going to act upon, and this is best practices. We've incorporated everything you've shared about the business, the solutions, the issues, the challenges, the target audience, what are unique identifiers for the business, what is important for you to set yourself apart. All that goes into the strategy. And if the
Yeah.
strategy in the sense can convey what they gave you in discovery and in onboarding, and then that's the first check mark from saying you listened to me. And so
Mm.
now I feel like you understand my business. That's the hardest thing for customers is, right, is like, tell me about your business, and then you
Yeah.
don't, and then you just put a plan out that doesn't align with anything they said. Number two is, how do you fill the gaps for what they can't figure out, in the sense of what their audience would want? And how do we have to convey it through content, through improving solutions or services pages, the signals that all come into how people vet, a provider for engagement. So there is there's so many things that have to be done there, so that it again allows us time to implement or layer these things on piece by piece, so that we continue to climb the mountain, which is the progression of success.
Mm.
And strategy first is also why you and I, are my agency with Peter, and Unibit, partnered together, is exactly that concept, is to get away from tactics, because tactics only allow you to survive for so long, and
Yeah.
double down on strategy that allows the adaptability, which we're going through it at a colossal rate right now.
Yeah. You gotta in your SEO, you must have the ability to month on month alter for the environment. You definitely got to have a plan. Let's say it's a 90-day, 3-month plan. But in that 3-month plan, you should have um, the ability to, whatever your budget got, this ability to move and change direction and add a bit of this and a bit of that, without going back to the customer for more budget.
When what you just said there about, the plan and being able to adjust and so forth, we all wish that, we could have a 12-month plan locked in and just follow the steps kind of linear, but that's not the
Mm.
way SEO works.
Yeah.
So Andrew, what are you seeing again in today's Unibit and today's SEO execution? You mentioned like a 3-month plan, but I know this is kind of a hard question, but in every client's circumstance and health is different. But how do you what are you seeing in the sense of needing to adjust with plans? Is it really like every 3 months? Is it month over month? Is it becoming month over month that we have to be even more adaptable? Or is it really just about where we came in the health of that brand, or where how much they have to climb? But what are you seeing in the sense of needing to adapt, so that also we're not pulling our hair out, trying to revise strategy every 30 days, which is in my opinion, a colossal mistake for SEO, because again, you need good data in a good chunk to really look kind of like quarter over quarter, biannually. Is this moving in the right direction versus just a quick win that an algorithm update can plummet the next time Google course corrects itself?
Yeah. Mike, it hasn't changed. SEO at the least must be a 90-day strategy. Should not be shorter than that. Um, when I say we have movement to adapt, if you go from the modular SEO where it's 5 or 10 keywords, or from our case, one URL, and then we're going to write you 3 blogs a month, the client's going to look for the work on the one URL and look for the 3 blogs a month. The way we're doing it now is that we're going to work for each topic entity or topic that we're going after, and we're going to have a content portion which we can use for anything we need to in order to support that topic entity. So now the client's not going to ask these 600 word pieces of content every month. But we are going to show where we use that time and that content. We're going to show where we've used it, but we have the ability now to use it for social posts, repurposing content, content audits, adjusting content on service pages, writing schema. We plan it 90 days ahead, and then we tweak it as we go month on month. But realistically, the client should every 90 days, the client should get a report. Did we meet our KPIs? If we didn't, why? What is the reasons? What we're going to do to change it? And then the next 90-day KPIs the plan could be the same thing. We've just had to adjust it. So SEO hasn't changed. It's not a month-on-month exercise. Definitely no shorter than 90 days. I wouldn't go longer than 90 days before I actually adjust anything. So the 90-day strategy to me it gives us a bit of stability, direction, and then we just have to tweak as we go along.
What are you on the theme of SEO and just again how it's transitioning into conversations, over keywords or conversations over phrases that the algorithm can connect A plus B plus C and produce something, as a result. But now, the consumer and us as humans are going into the search bar and it's having a conversation with the AI, whether it's AI for AI overviews, AI mode in Google, or the primary large language models, Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT, etc. What are you seeing as maybe the biggest wins in this kind of initial 6 months of really adapting overall strategy to focus on AI? But what are some of those signals that you have said that this is how we get our customers found, while also ensuring that we're not harming the foundational SEO, which still drives how the LLMs and Google's crawlbot can process and understand information?
Um, it's difficult to find out where the success is if you're using without using a tool. Initially, we started the AI journey by manually putting prompts into the different LLMs and manually understanding how it's interpreted, which gives you a little bit of satisfaction. Since then, as I say, with the four of us doing research, we've come across one or two tools where now that does it at scale and it does it a lot quicker. The satisfying part is when you're putting these, first of all, investigating and developing the right kind of prompts, which, there's many places to do that. Search Console gives you the long tail keywords people are actually searching for. So that's a good indication. And you develop these prompts and put them in these tools. And the satisfying section is finding out why you are not being mentioned, and then changing the content wherever the content needs to be changed. And a month or two down the road, you actually see now if somebody was getting cited for the top 10 best plumbers in an area and you needed a blog or you needed content on your service pages, you've done that change. And now you start seeing that you're bridging the gap between traditional SEO, Google search, to AI SEO, to now the large language models, and you're starting to bridge that gap. But it all boils down to SEO. That's what it boils down to. But I mean, it is satisfying. The tools that we're using at the moment, you can actually see how, for those set of prompts that you're doing for the topic that you're targeting, how that gap gets smaller and smaller because of the content you are developing, wherever the content is.
And I love what you just said there, which, if anybody takes anything out of this episode, is it's all still SEO.
Yeah.
And one thing Andrew taught me. So he had a fascinating presentation last September at our Canadian WSI regional meetings, where we had a large group of WSICs that were able to come for 2 days of education, and Andrew had a really primary presentation, because what Unibit was introducing to the WSI network was their new AI visibility add-on service, at which we are all working to facilitate, no matter what production center or what agency, because It was the next layer of how to start getting brands visible in the large language model. And again, what Andrew shared in September has evolved tenfold in a mere 5 or 6 months. That's how fast it's moving. But the one big thing that Andrew said there that grounded me, because again, last year was the year of doubt and uncertainty in so many facets, not even just SEO, but just what's happening to digital marketing, what's happening to the world. But the key theme that he grounded me on is he said, he goes, you can't jump over SEO just to optimize for LLMs. And I have stood fast on that for 6 months because Andrew has spent numerous hours with me, educating me and talking me through the madness so that I can sell it correctly and educate the team correctly. But it is really true. If you do not have a strong foundational SEO footprint for your brand, then there is no point trying to say, I'm going to be found in the LLMs. It's not going to work. And it doesn't matter if you try to bully it or try to do it, it's not. So having just an AI page on your website saying that's enough, it's not. It comes down to, again, the topical authority, the brand entity signals, the trust factors. How does your brand, in a consistent flow across the entire internet, which is a database, what are those signals that allows the large language models to say, I can scrape this faster, or I can surface this faster than anything else. I can do this in seconds, but I'm trying to understand and trying to calculate, if you, I'm talking as like I'm a large language model, the accuracy, the relativity, and also the honesty and the consistency of what this brand is saying, so that we will serve that to the person asking the question and saying, this is the most relative results. So it's an evolution, but again, it comes down to technical SEO on the website, a content strategy that you have topical authority. And now what we're doing is, another thing Andrew said, and what I have been saying is, you're not educating humans anymore. We're educating machines. That's what we're doing. And a machine needs to know more than just, we do this service. This is the service we do, but this is why the service exists. This is what the service solves. This is what the common questions about the service. This is the facts about the service. This is reinforcement about the service. So my point with rambling through those points is, those are all factors that the LLM has to be able to identify through your website, through the information and the brand reputation, to say, yes, this is the most accurate to solve the question. And so again, it's SEO foundation is even more important, so that you can layer on to be found in large language models. And you and I have also seen, Andrew, with some of our mutual clients that we work on together, you have seen that we are naturally getting picked up by the LLMs for clients that have tenured, strong SEO results and strategy, clients that have been investing 5, 10, 15 years in SEO. And look, the SEO landscape has changed like crazy through that. But if they've got a strong footprint, they're already naturally getting picked up. And now that AI layer gets laid on top of it to amplify it. Now, again, I just went on a tangent there, but now take it where you want to go, because you and Francois and Marilise and Mariana, respectively, you guys were very much thought leaders of how to navigate that, like other production centers, to help guide us to even what to do.
You know what? As you're talking there, the people listening to this,
You want to hire me on as a speaking consultant?
yeah, I'm not sure you're going to speak to that. Don't speak to me. But if anybody's got any teenage children, anything from 13 to 16 or 17, and you listen to the way they talk now, I actually have a conversation and I go, all the phrases they're using is a different language to us. And we have to learn that language from our children. So it's just twigged to me now that SEO hasn't changed. It's just modified its language differently. So if you think about, we have to now change the language so the LLMs can have this information in a different format. So you go back to SEO is SEO. We're just adapting it to English 2.0 or French 2.0. That's, I mean, chat to your youngsters, chat to your teenagers. When they have a sentence, you haven't a clue what they're talking about, because they've got slang in there that you have no idea what it means. So It's purely a different language. We're trying to adaptation to the language.
And also, how do you take that language and make it as clear as possible? So again, a machine can understand it, because that's really who we're talking to moving
Yep.
forward, because the machine is going to facilitate the answer for us and how we use technology on our phones, our computers, our Google Homes, anything that we have now. We're going to go to it because it's going to give it to us in seconds. And we live in a very immediate world now that no one has the patience to drill down to do
Yeah.
true deep research. They
Mm.
expect it immediately, and then they blindly trust it. And we need to make sure that we're found. So that's a big point for other ICs that are listening, newer ICs that are trying to understand this massive change. Is don't jump the horse to just try to optimize for LLMs. It still
No.
comes down for the client investing in comprehensive strategy first, search everywhere optimization to build the foundation, just like a house, so that then you can layer the walls, the subfloor, the roof on top of it, which is the different layers and how much you can have. And that's dictated by budget and the intensity that the customer wants to go at.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I'm always, when you get a new project in and you get the current budget or scope of work, first of all, when you analyze it, you get really excited that if I do all these activities, I know it'll work. And then the client comes with a budget which is about a quarter of the size that you actually need. And that always now dampens my spirit, saying, well, I know we can make this work, spend X amount of money, but now we got to spend a quarter of that. And this client is going to be around for, he's going to try and expect his KPIs in a shorter period of time. So it is quite frustrating. And I understand budget is budget, but the plan to actually get the project working is the exciting part. Trying to get the client to understand the deliverables and the expectations. I think that's our biggest challenge is for your $2,000, you can expect your project to develop return on investment within 3, 6, 9 months, depending on how stable the current website is, or how well SEO the current website is.
Why do you think, we've mentioned a couple of times through the first portion of chatting here about SEO, you've mentioned, um, like I said, we're not necessarily immediately wanting to go to customers saying just need more money, even though there is more work to do now more than ever. We've seen that you can't have you can't have 10 new items within the same package that still needs the existing 10 or 15 items that are in there per se. The other
Yeah.
side of it you mentioned is there's a lot of, when I asked you what's the biggest deal breaker for clients, one of the things I believe you said was, it is price point. Because look, small to medium sized businesses, they don't have $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month just to say, Andrew, tell me how to use it. Those are the amazing clients, but they don't come every day.
No.
But it is a real problem to try to, right now, change a lot of business owners' perception of digital marketing in the sense of search engine optimization, to say we are in a world now where, again, it could be, $2,000 to $4,500 a month for search everywhere optimization at a certain level, because it does warrant that much work and the difficulty, but how much we have to do compared to the old days where you could sell SEO for $500, $800 a month, depending on your model. Why do you think, Andrew? Because you talk to so many people, clients, WSIICs, and so forth, in different areas of the world too, which is interesting versus me being in Canada. Why do you think price is such a challenge still? But it's a really hard one that we're all sensitive to, and we're trying to navigate it. But it's the reality that everything increases with cost and execution and precision. But why do you think that is such a hard thing to swallow right now?
I think, Mike, it comes to traditional marketing, the days before digital marketing, where you have a company and they say, well, we know we need to do marketing to be visual. And if they haven't planned it inside their budget, they've worked out that we need to turn over X. And from whatever we turn over, our digital marketing budget is 7%. what does that equate into a monetary value? And then we are prepared to spend that 7% to in our marketing, or we want to grow by 5% per year. Well, how much of your turnover or gross profit or net profit are you willing to spend on marketing? I think if we have those discussions ahead of time, I've had it once or twice recently where the person says, I want to do X. I said, well, what have you budgeted? And they go, we haven't budgeted. We just look at your price. And I said, well, what are you turning over? What is your profit margin? How many of those do you have to sell? Um, from the profit you make, how much are you willing to spend on marketing? And then they do the sums and go, oh, well, I'm quite comfortable to spend the $2,000 or $3,000 because I've actually planned it now. So it goes back to the planning stages where you educate your average business person who maybe hasn't thought about a marketing budget against his revenue turnover, and you go down that. That makes the pill easier to swallow on the budget side of things if there's rationale behind it.
I love that because again, too many of us are eager for the opportunity, and we all are at fault for that, right? Net new opportunities are harder than ever to get that are viable. You want to get good strategic partnerships that help businesses grow, but you have to kind of reverse engineer and work through the business piece with the customer because they don't know, and that's not a ploy for you to get more money out of them. It's to show them, like you said, what they need to invest, and that this is possible if you budget for it, if we calculate it correctly and allocate. But a lot of them come in just with, I'm licking my thumb, even though we don't use video, but looking at some saying, I'm prepared to spend this. But it
Yes.
also, is that really going to move the needle? It's very much in a weird way. It is like a PPC evaluation because clients will come in and say, well, I'll spend $700 a month, but we have to reverse engineer them and
Yeah.
say, again, what is the cost per click? What is the customer, the CP, what is the CPA? What is the profit margin on a deal, an average deal that you bring? What is your closing rate? And they'll say, well, I need I need 1,000 leads a month. Well, what's your closing rate on those 1,000 leads? Well, or if I get 100 leads a week, I close 2 of them. Well, you work the math backwards, and then you look at the actual data on the PPC side, for example, and you're like, there's
Okay.
no way in hell
Okay.
that $700 will move what your expectations are.
Yeah.
And for digital, and why I'm shifting gears for a moment, not to take away from SEO, but the whole thing about pricing with the customer is we have to protect ourselves because we're all in performance marketing now. That's
Yeah.
what the game is. It's performance marketing. It's not just let's put some money out there and we're going to get you found and good for you. This isn't
Mhm.
Coca-Cola that just needs market saturation.
No.
So we need to protect ourselves because if that's not a good fit, there's a disqualifier right there. Because if that prospect, God love them, if they don't get it, don't bring them on because you will
Yeah.
never win that argument as to what performance should be or what is equivalent in relation to what they're investing.
And the bigger problem there is when you don't meet their expectations because their budget is not big enough for their expectations, and they stop using you. The biggest problem there is word of mouth. Next time they speak to somebody, they tell me my digital market agency I used has no idea what they're doing, but actually it's not that. It wasn't a budget big enough. I mean, I look at one of the ICs we're dealing with now on the PPC. They're, they're also a franchisor and a franchisee. And when you get a franchise and you have to spend $10,000 within the first 6 months on PPC. You have to if you buy a franchise. That to me says you actually giving the person who bought the franchise a leg up to actually get that business going by not evaluating the client's turnover, sales cycle, profit from whatever they're selling, and working out a percentage of your budget and just taking it because he wants to give you $1,000 a month and you need the $1,000. If you do it the short way, the word of mouth at the end of the day is going to damage your reputation where it makes it harder to get more business. So although you need the business right now, it is better to go the long way around and spend the extra time educating the client of market spend inside his business model. And then if he's got 5% or 10% and it's worth $2,000, then you say for $2,000, your expectations are X. everybody's on the same page. And if it doesn't work, nobody turns around and points fingers.
Well said. Very well said. And great, great insights to help other WSI franchises and how to look at things constructed. Because what we're also saying here, no matter pricing and whatever, is you have to educate. I'm a big advocate. You're not educating tactics, okay? Tactics are what you pay us to do, and
Yeah.
strategy is what you pay us to do. But if you have a customer that doesn't understand what we're doing, how it will work, what it takes to do it to help support their business and whatnot, then that's another problem. So I'm a big proponent of education. Like Andrew said, spend the time in prospecting, you know, and in customer acquisition, meaning the more time you spend to help show somebody that you're willing to go to bat from the right way. An educated customer is powerful, because that, remember what we said earlier about how really good starting with strategy allows for the relationship to start to kind of get footing.
Yeah.
Same thing with education. The person that gets educated to say aha or makes sense or not, that's them connecting the dots now into potential, progress, but also where that investment is going. And in the early days where you can't quantifiably show a ton of data and a ton of progress or feel the progress, they need to believe in you. They're buying you.
Yeah.
And so education, I am huge proponent of that, versus just, oh, you need SEO package ABC and here's the price point, cool, I sold them. You're not building a relationship there. You're a supplier in that regard, and you're just facilitating a task. You want to be the strategic partner that can pull the different levers of those tactics, while reinforcing what they do and how they can work together. Like, I love what you said earlier about, like, yeah, if you need quick wins, then we are going to tell you to start with paid advertising, because once you feel and see transactional revenue or lead generation coming in, then we can layer some more investing into the next step, which is SEO for the long-term health of the business. But you have to be able to look at it as a strategic solution, versus the customer came and said, well, I know SEO is important, so Andrew, tell me what SEO package I should be on. That's not how you should be selling SEO.
No.
You need to
If
identify how it's going to work for the business based on the health of the business and the budget of the business, so that they can understand strategically where we can take them.
Yeah, I think that's the fundamental change of SEO 2 years ago to SEO now. Is SEO 2 years ago, you could take a SEO package off the shelf and it would work. Now we can't take it off the shelf anymore. We have to spend a little bit more, invest more of our time on strategy, understanding where the client is. But saying that, if we do it properly, the longevity of the client will be solid. And that's what we want. We have 10 clients, longevity, recurring income, and that's where you want to be.
And guys, maybe as we shift gears here, because I want to have some fun with Andrew, because this has been very educational, insightful. Obviously, this is Andrew's forte with Unibit, and they are a powerhouse in the sense of SEO for over 20 years, and keeping on top of that. But the real punchline here is SEO is not going anywhere.
No.
Andrew's hit on it. It is evolving like anything in the digital marketing space and in the internet does naturally. So we will adapt, we will evolve, we will learn new tactics, we will learn new strategies. But there is my opinion, and I want to make sure of this, because I'm never going to talk at people like I'm some savant. My opinion is there is too much money in SEO and in the search engines for it to just disappear. It's not going to disappear. It will continue to evolve. Remember, we were stuffing keywords in the early 2000s into footers. We were
Yes.
stuffing keywords into footers with the same color font as the background of the body of the internet, so that
Yeah.
only the crawl bots could find it. We were spinning keyword garbage content, 20 years ago, and that was being picked up with the algorithms. And look at where we are now and how we are talking to machines in
Oh,
a conversation to get what we want. So it continues to improve and continues to evolve, but you got to get into it, because AI is not going to allow you to be found if you do not have strong foundational search everywhere optimization.
oh. Yeah. The right conversations on your website. Yeah.
So, Andrew, let's shift gears, because I'm the angry ops guy, and you're in operations as well with your lovely bride, Marilise. And knowing that Marilise is in the office, and usually what's hilarious when you are working from home versus the physical office is that I'll be spewing rage, and she's literally across the room from you, even though she won't come on camera because she likes to be the quiet assassin. But I got to have her on here because me and her hit it off years ago because she's like me. She's been in operations her entire life, and she is jaded, and she is the worker, and she is the firefighter. And so, Marilise, when you do listen to this, because you don't care about me, but you should listen to this because your husband speaks well, I'm calling you out. You better get on camera and come on the Angry Ops Guy, because I would love to shoot the shit with you. So I hope that makes you laugh, but you're coming on, because if I get your father, Francois, on here as a guest before you, something's wrong. So I'm
Yeah.
calling out our friendship right now, Marilyn. Now, getting back to Andrew. So, Andrew, you're in operations as well. You have multiple pods or multiple kind of team dynamics, and that's how big Unibit is as a production center. So you've got a very kind of keen lens on operations. Why does ops suck?
Now,
And if you can see Andrew's face right now once it processed, he's like, yeah, exactly.
well, it's you can't put your finger on it, but the the amount of SOPs you put in place and the processes you put in place, you still have the human aspect who thinks their ideas are better than historic ideas. And they stray. I mean, we talk about getting into the weeds. We have an SOP to do something. It's quite, an SOP is a guideline. It's not rigid. It's not set in stone. It's a guideline. Do it, follow this process. Yes, you can go left and right as you want to, but we get um, people in ops who think they're doing the right thing and they wander down a rabbit hole, and 2 hours go past in this rabbit hole, and they come up with stuff which is totally off the mark. It's not going to move the needle. So two things happen. The person feels a bit sort of negative because they've spent 2 hours doing something they is not going to get value. And if you think about ops, it's all about selling hours. And we have on Monday we had a look at our production. We got 263 projects in the shop. We got 30 staff. Each staff member is supposed to work X amount of hours. So if I've got a staff member who's wasting, let's say, an hour a day times half my staff members, 15 hours a day, times that by 22 working days a month, I'm losing 2 weeks of the month. I mean, it's gone. It's a lot, you know? So
Jesus Christ.
my biggest frustration is people, people need to follow the rules of the road. Yes, we all deviate and we park on the curb sometimes, and we might, roll through a stop street because there's nobody around, but you must still follow the rules of the road. It's making sure the staff understand that we've been doing this a long time. This is a good way. Our SOP is a good way to go. If you do the SOP, you're going to come out 80% good. Then we've got team leaders that can check that. Keeping people on the net, on the path is our biggest challenge. And they're not doing it negatively. They think they're doing the best thing they can, but they don't have the experience to understand that it's not the best way to go. So that's how, if I put my finger on ops, and if you've got a staff of 2 or 3, we've got a staff of 30. It just is. I'm basically, you can call me a fireman because that's all I do all day is put out fires. Between myself
All
and
day.
Marilise, yeah, we just put out
Oh,
fires.
you've heard that quote, and I actually have a T-shirt. It's in storage now. It was in my office for years that a customer gave me, and even though I'm no longer quote unquote a project manager, that's where I carved my teeth for over 10 years, was being a project manager on the production side. But the shirt that one of my most loyal and favorite customers sent me was project management's like riding a bike. The bike's on fire, you're on fire, and you're burning in hell. It's
Yeah,
so true. I opened this up and I was like, what the fuck is this? And I read it and I had a laugh, and I had to call her. I'm like, this might be the best gift ever, because this is the first time somebody has reflected on the insanity that I
yeah,
go through. But you're so right. Like, it's always something on fire. And I have so much to say about, what you just said about your reflection of why ops sucks and, my humor. But why are we always on fire, buddy? Like,
I,
why is it that we come in every day and something is a fucking stage 4 alarm? Like, I
okay,
don't understand it.
I've got a good. I was actually I gave one of my staff members a lift home yesterday. To Manny, who's been with us a long time, and I said to him, "Man, yesterday was really hard." And he says, "No, it was tough." And then I said, "Well, I mean, why is it so tough?" And we think we worked it out because of the nature that who we are, that 90% is not good enough. It has to be 100% or nothing. Now, to give you an idea, is last year's conference, and it was really a big shock to myself, Francois, and Marilise, is when Unibit won the Supplier of the Year. I mean, if I tell you what happened that year in the office, you're going to ask me, there's no ways you won the Supplier of the Year. But I think our personalities, especially in this industry, it's 100% or nothing. And because that is our personality, we have so many fires because not everybody thinks like we do. So it's if it's slightly wrong, a lot of people just leave it. "No, it'll work out in the wash," and it most probably will work out in the wash. But our personalities say no, it's not going to work out in the wash. It's either right or wrong. So get it right. I think that's where a lot of the fires come from, especially in SEO, because SEO is not immediate. So if you do something a bit wrong now, it's really not going to unrail anything. But it's our total, let's say, commitment to getting it 100%, 100% of the time, which we'll never do, but we've got to strive for it.
Well, I'm gonna call you out because you just boldface lied. It's not because of who you guys are. I saw you and Francois and Marilise at the last convention with a big, large envelope of money, and you gave it to head office, and all of a sudden you won your award. So you're full of shit, but okay.
But you're not supposed
And
to see that.
well, I see everything. I'm Ops Mike, but
Yeah.
no. But it's also in all seriousness. I mean that not with sarcasm. You guys had a very. I really identify that at the beginning introducing you, but you guys did receive a tremendous form of respect and recognition in winning that award. Top, if I'm correct, it was top supplier in the WSI network. So it's one of the awards that is presented at the WSI Global Convention. We do them now roughly every year and a half. And obviously there is a large volume of suppliers and production centers in the network. And Unibit, being well tenured, like I said, north of 20 years, won this prestigious award. And like you kind of said, it was very humbling in its own way for you and Marilise and Francois and Mariana being there at the convention to get that recognition,
Yeah.
which I was thrilled for you guys too to get. But to see the look on your faces, it was almost like you were shocked. Which is the most fun when you win anything, is to be
Yeah.
surprised that your peers or your colleagues or the network see you in that light.
You know what was even better is when we got back to the office here in South Africa, and we explained to the staff members the size of the WSI network. So if you take that conference hall last time, it's massive. There's lots of people in there. The amount of suppliers, I think this, if I counted correctly, is over 60 suppliers in the network. And then I said to them, well, we won Supplier of the Year. And their faces actually dropped because they are in the mix. They are with us stamping out fires. And I said, now you're working towards something. You mean what you're doing makes a difference in somebody else's life. It puts food on a table of another business owner. And although we are always fighting with each other, which we don't, we just always trying to get it perfect, is the outside world sees us as, hey, we're doing great. But the inside engine is never happy. It's always striving for better. And
100%.
I mean, we just came back here and we the whole staff got a bonus just because of what we won. Just showing that at a lot of the time during the week, you get to Thursday, and you, Mike, you're the same as me. I get to Thursday and my spoons in my cup are finished. There's no more spoons to give out. I really am drained. But it's for a bigger reason. If we've got, say 260 projects, if we can give 260 people who own those businesses exposure to pay their bills and feed their family. What what
That's why
better
we
can
do
we?
it, Andrew. That's
That's
why we
what
do
better
it.
can we? Yeah.
That is the
Mm.
greatest gift, is to hear the customer, your strategic partner, call you and say, I don't know what you guys are doing over there for my money, but I'm
Yeah.
feeling it and things are turning around. And I really appreciate you guys. And thanks for making this year way better than what I shared with you when you were prospecting and we were seeing if it was a good fit.
Yeah.
That's the joy of helping people in digital marketing. And you also hit it on something so important, is that I don't know what other industries are like, and frankly don't care. But in digital marketing, or in, let's say, agency life, the people inside never think what we do is good enough.
No.
Never think that we're moving the needle, because you do focus, like you said earlier, on this client's going to yell at me. There's the rage. There's going to be the difficult conversations. It is a very reactionary industry. It's a very volatile up and down industry, because nothing just keeps going in one direction. It's up and down like momentum. But winning awards, and I just was on an open forum where head office asked me, because our agency was very fortunate, same convention,
Mm.
to win the last People's Choice Award. And we've been
Yeah.
very successful to win that a couple of times over the last decade. Um, that said, they wanted me to come on and speak about what that means. And I went on there, and I think the biggest point I was able to convey is, I'm just the person on stage with my owner, Peter, accepting the award. The
Mhm.
award is really a testament to your team. That's the
Yeah.
validation for those workers of all the sweat, the grind, the frustration, the pressure, the zapped energy, to say, guys, you did something here, and this is yours, because they can't see it, right? And that's why it's so important to remind yourself, like, why you submit for awards, why you push out case studies
Yeah.
and what else, because what you're actually doing is you're showcasing your team. And exactly to
Yes.
your point, it meant a lot for you, the core family that was going up there as the leaders, but going home was almost more special for you guys, because you got to, like, really celebrate the moment with the team, saying, all the nonsense this year, all the stress, look at
Mm.
this is yours. And that is a, I call it like a lightning rod in the ass of your team members, to inject life and motivation again, because motivation of agency workers is up and down, right? But that just
Yeah.
there gives them purpose to say, I am doing okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I was so
And,
happy for you guys to win that, because what a lot of people may or may not know is, like I said, Unibit's been around a long time. And Francois, again, with his WSI franchise now 25 years, our agency is now 26 plus years in infancy. Francois and my Peter have been friends, good friends, for
mm.
25 years, and they don't
Yeah.
see each other a lot anymore, based on the fact that we're in North America and you guys are in South Africa. But I'll tell you, when Peter and Francois especially get together at convention, it's like, you want to talk about two old friends getting together, sharing stories, talking life. I know Peter's traveled to South Africa and had weeks with Francois and Mariana in the past, to understand and see the culture of South Africa. But our agency and your agency have been entwined almost since infancy. And
Yeah.
you want to talk again about the power of the network. That is really what it is about, is to build those trusted relationships, no matter whether you're working exclusively together or you're
Yeah.
knee deep in the trenches together, but to build those friendships. And now look at where we are. Francois, I've known my entire career. He's been one of the kindest men to me, mentoring, complimenting, telling me to keep going. And now here I am with you and Marilise, the next wave of Unibit, as people like Francois, Mariana, Peter start to wind down their focus based on how long their careers have been, and look at the friendships and partnerships that we're building here now together, and how we're challenging each other to do this better. Because what we agreed upon in the early days, you and I, is we got to take care of our staff. We got to do this the right way, and I'm going to challenge you and you're going to challenge me, and let's make this better moving forward, because that's how we're wired to do it.
Yeah. It's definitely a collaboration between everybody. It has to be. It can't be. It is no one single person is the winner. It's a collaboration between the IC, the PC, and the client, and that's how you're going to win.
That's how you're going to win. One thing I want to say as we start to wrap up here, because we both got to go. But one thing that just stands out, because I have enjoyed your friendship from the day I met you. Obviously, like I said, I've known Marilise indirectly in the early years of who she was. Again, Marilise has always been very a background person, primarily, has a much more front facing now, but she is the true leader of your ops.
Yeah,
And she's been doing it her entire career. But you and I hit it off as soon as we met, and I connected the dots that you were her husband and integral part of the leadership at Unibit. But we also have the same sense of humor, even though you're way more polished than I am. Even though, like you said, South African jokes can maybe are
yeah,
a little bit blunt, and you got to know you. But we laugh because we know the same shit that we go through. And one thing I just want to say to you is just makes me laugh still this day. You only said it to me like a month ago, but I got you on a one-on-one call, and you're like, Mike, always when I come, Mike, how are you doing? And I'm usually rolling my eyes or sweating or breathing heavy because, I'm laboring to just survive. And I'm like, oh, I'm here or whatever else. And I said something like, God damn it, people or clients or staff. And you're like, Mike, I think I've found a solution. I said, tell me, Obi-Wan. And he's like, I bring my 9mm handgun into the office and I put it on my desk on an angle pointing at the door. I make sure that the clip is next to it so it doesn't look like I'm choosing violence. But it's amazing the psychological effect it has on team members to leave me alone and to put a better productive way to do work. And
yeah.
I just sat there, and you're killing yourselves laughing, and he's joking. He's not doing, he'd do it, but like the delivery was brilliant. And I'm sitting there going, like, can I get away with this in Canada, or would I be, would the cops come and get me? And then Andrew's like, I don't suggest you do it, but the laws in South Africa are a little bit different than Canada. But
That's
there's another tidbit is if you're not getting productivity out of your team, choose violence and even go so far to threaten their life. Because at the end of the day, as ops managers, we need to get shit done. So
get shit.
sometimes you got to be violent.
Yeah, get shit done. That's what you have to do.
If you
Yeah,
have a handgun on your desk, I don't even want to know what Marilise has on hers. She's got like
yeah.
this huge sword. She got this huge sword. She's just grinding and sharpening as somebody comes in to ask her a question.
It just puts everybody on their toes. Yeah, that's
So,
good.
Andrew, I would love to talk to you for another hour, but you've got appointments and meetings, and so do I, based on what the time zones. So, I would love for you to come back and again down the road, and we'll talk more SEO. We'll talk more operations. Maybe if Marilise, tells me bluntly, no, I'm not coming on. We'll get both you on. That would be hilarious to have you both on
Yeah, we'll
together.
work
Just
on that.
that would be great. But where can people find you? Specific to networking, business opportunities, or so your handles, LinkedIn, Unibit, etc. Anything you'd like to share, just in the sense of how people can make connections with you for business opportunities.
Mike, it's if they just go to the the Unibit site, unibitsolutions.com has the 4 of our details on that site listed there. It's got our email addresses and our mobile phone numbers. Um, that is the best way to. The nice thing about that, if you email Mariana or Francois or Maurice or myself, between the 4 of us, it comes down the pipeline and goes to the right person. So that's the best way to get hold of us is through our website.
All right. So unibitsolutions.com if you want to touch base directly with Andrew. Andrew, again, I've been looking forward to having you on. You said to me, what do I need to prepare? What do I need to do? Well, you survived. I did. I wasn't that malicious today, but
Yeah, it's about
I love you and Marilise. I always look forward. I only get to see you in person once or twice, a year, just based on logistics. But can't wait to see you in June in Cabo when we're there talking WSI digital marketing. That's going to be fabulous, and I look forward to continuing and expanding our partnership. And you tell the SEO guru, Master Francois, Ops Mike says hello. He'll be like, who? And that's everything you need to know about my respect in the network. But thanks for
yeah.
coming on, man. And I
Right.
appreciate you very much.
Thanks for having us. It's great to chat to you, and it's the collaboration is what I enjoy. Even though you're other side of the world, it's still It's almost person to person, which is great.
You bet. All right, Angry Ops Guy here. So more guests coming. A great lineup through spring and summer here of 2026. We're dropping new episodes every 2 weeks. A couple of bonus episodes coming. You can find us. Our handles Angry Ops Guy _WSI. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn. We're on YouTube. Hint, hint. Angry Ops Guy website coming soon if I can ever find time to do it. And also new ops songs that you can find on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and so forth under my moniker brand Ops285. So if you want to spew some ops rage, go listen to it, rock out. And also make sure you go find Andrew on LinkedIn, a good man and a tremendous thought leader in the SEO space. Thanks, Andrew. You have a great day, buddy.
Sorry, Ops Mike, your email went to junk.